Hey guys, Cruisefire here, today with a brand new video. Before this video begins, I have to say something very sad. Sadly, this video was rushed, like most of my videos, and as for the Chaos video, the Chaos Origin video, it's gonna take a lot longer than I thought it would, and because it's really difficult for me to make, let's just say that. And so yeah, that video will be hopefully out next week. No promises though, because it could be done by the end of the summer. I have no clue when it will be finished. Hopefully it'll be finished by next week. But other than that, here is something I have. I've created my top 6 things I'm just gonna scratch this out here. Dislike about the Skylanders games. And just to go over some rules here, these are only the games. I cannot mention anything like anything outside the games, like toy releases, hate for the franchise, stuff like that. I could do that in another video, but who knows? Heck, that could be the video for next week. Who knows? It'd be cool to. That'd be a cool situation there. But let's begin. And if you're wondering why it's top 6, because there's 6 Skylanders games. They're not from the 6 they're not all from the 6 Skylanders games, but I thought having 6 would be all right. So let's begin. Starting with number 6, which is kind of a bonus. It's not something I hugely dislike, which is long dialogue. I don't mind dialogue because you need it to tell the story, and a lot of Skylanders games have really good stories, except sometimes I get really annoyed with the dialogue because there's stuff like most of it's skippable, which is fun, which is fine, but I find that I'm constantly skipping dialogue, and sometimes there's dialogue that you can't skip, like stuff that's necessary for you to do in the game. But the problem that I have is when I'm replaying a level, I can't re-skip that dialogue. For example, I'm pretty sure Eruptor in a abandoned amusement park, when he's teaching you how to ice the birthday cake, you cannot skip that. But was it Eruptor? I think so. It was sometime in Imaginators. I'm pretty sure it's a character where you're not allowed to skip, and it gets super annoying when I already know how to do that, but I have to be retold how to do it, which gets really annoying. So there's that. It's not the worst thing in the world. That's why it's number 6. So yeah. Next is number 5, which is Imaginators difficulty and old characters. Now, this is something I really want to talk about. This is lower on the list because it's only in Imaginators, and pretty much what happens is, I kind of have a story for this one. From Swap Force to Superchargers, I have been playing the Skylanders games on the hard difficulty, because I kind of love a challenge. But on Imaginators, they've made it so Imaginators are the strongest characters yet, and Senseis are also very strong. So what happened is that they had to make the enemies stronger, so it's easy for the Senseis to get rid of them. But the problem is, old characters are still really, compared to the Senseis, are really weak. So it takes hours to kill enemies, and then there's some enemies that are just unfair, like the sheep. All of the sheeps are the worst. The ones with the claws are kind of alright to handle. You can handle them if there's 1 or 2, like these 2 guys right here. But the barbarians and the mages are the worst. The mages, and if you have these two become powerhouses once a mage is there, because you become slower, and it's honestly the worst. I can't play the arena anymore because of the sheep. If there's one thing I'd want in an update for Skylanders Imaginators, it'd probably be more parts. But I'd also like them to nerf these, because they are the worst. They are the absolute worst characters. So, yeah, I've had it. Also, just a side note, also, I found that you can barely play as the superchargers anymore because their health is so low now that they can barely survive. I think they don't have. I think they should have, like, how do I explain this? In superchargers, they had their supercharged when they were paired up with their vehicle and the vehicle became supercharged. They would get better health. Except I think they kept their bad, like, it would extend their health by 50. They don't get that 50 bonus, so all of the superchargers can really die easy, and they're almost impossible to play as because it's so difficult dealing with the enemies. So, yeah, I just... This is something I dislike. Mind you, it's only Imaginators, that's why that's here. Number 4. Changed movement. Now, I need to explain this one because it's really difficult to explain. This was only in Trap Team, but it really, really annoyed me. Some characters through games from different game engines get changed movement. What I mean by this is some attacks change, like Chop Chop in Skylanders, Spyro's Adventure Giants, Swap Force, Trap Team, not Trap Team, not Tripping, Superchargers, and Imaginators. Everyone but Trap Team, pretty much. I don't know why I just didn't say that. My bad. He was able to, whenever he does his combo, his second combo where he circles around and spins, he'll move forward. But in Trap Team, he'll just stay in one spot. It's kind of hard to explain, but I honestly don't know how to explain it. Another good one is Sprocket. For me, for some reason, I couldn't use her tank attack because of the engines. I couldn't create turrets. So I went for her turret path in Giants and Swap Force. So it completely ruined the character for me. That's why I have a picture of Sprocket right here. So yeah, it's not awful because they did change engines for Superchargers and Imaginators. It's just something I really hated in Trap Team, and that's crazy because Trap Team is my favorite game. So heading on to number 3, removal of online. Now this is something that really angers me because, no offense if you like this game, but Superchargers I didn't think was the best Skylanders game to have online. There's just not too many levels that you could play, so you would pretty much end up playing a level that you'd most likely have already played with a buddy, and it kind of gets annoying. Imaginators has around 22 levels if you count the elemental gates, which I do. So it's great. It would have been great to have online, but we don't. We only have the racing portion, which was kind of just cut from Superchargers that they brought on there. And yeah, you could say that that's online, but the Nintendo Switch doesn't have it. And honestly, I'm thinking in the next game we're not gonna have any online. And I'll get to more about those vehicles later in number 2. Old Skyland in number 1 actually, just hinting there. Old Skylanders cannot do much for number 2. This is something. This is something I really hate. This goes really big for the original Core 32, the 8 original elements, and pretty much any character from Spyro's Adventure gets this, including Giants and Swap Force, but they're not as bad. I'll get into it now. Pretty much all the core characters. I'm saying pretty much a lot. I'm so sorry. All the core characters can basically do nothing yet except get leveled up, do stuff like get leveled up, get money, get upgraded. But once you have a fully upgraded and full leveled Skylander, all they can do is pretty much you can fight with them. They can't open elemental gates. They can't do pretty much anything with them after that. Another annoying thing is the gimmick characters, because I paid $15 for a giant when they first came out, and now they can't do anything They're just basically a normal Skylander that's huge and slow, which really annoys me. They're Oh gosh, I forgot what I was gonna say. They're pretty much core characters now, which kind of annoys me. The only ones that's also for the trap team, the swap force. The only ones that aren't really affected by this are the swappers, but that's because their gimmick is within the toys, and that's 256 characters that you can use. And if they just made it 16, that would not be fun. So, and I'm pretty sure they already they can take files from certain characters and bring them into other games. So all the swappers will always move on. Yet when it comes to building a game, they can't make certain zones. I really hated also in Trap Team when they got rid of the fact that all the characters can't open elemental gates, just the Trap Masters. Then when it went to the next game, then it was only vehicles, and after that it was only Imaginators not Imaginators, only Senseis. And why don't the Imaginators get to open the elemental gates? That's no fun. It just kind of angers me. So, next, number 1, slowly removing certain toys from the game. Now, this really peeves me because I think this could evolve to a huge problem. So, it all started with the magic items slowly being removed with the levels. That was understandable because they added jumping. And so it makes sense for the levels. They still kept all what the magic items can do. And even the levels could still do their magic item attack. Sorry, I didn't mention I'm speaking about Swap Force. In Swap Force, they removed the levels, which was okay, nothing that too bad. But once they moved on, it started getting. I think it got really bad near Superchargers. Trap Team was alright. I don't think they removed anything. And Trap Team is when they introduced traps, which were a brand new toy. And that's when they started adding toys, and this is where adding new toys that aren't just characters, and this is where it starts getting bad because in Superchargers they just flat out removed traps in general. All they can really do is not removed. All they do is give you a higher attack, and personally, I would have took villains way over just that attack, and it was not a good choice. And then the magic items were dumbed down to just legendary treasures. Then in Imaginators, which is by far the worst, these give you gold and these give you gold. Nothing else. They can't do their special stuff anymore. They can't do anything like that. And vehicles, I'm for sure, if there's going to be a future game, are most likely going to go away, which really angers me because I spent over at least hundreds of dollars on vehicles. Traps and magic items are kind of understandable, but vehicles, they were technically kind of like playable characters. And the fact that we can no longer use them is just annoying and just and the problem I have is that I'm going to think I don't know why I can't get out of my head, but I sometimes think that they might do this to certain characters. Like maybe they'll start by getting rid of, I don't know, like like Sunburn, because he never had he never had a repose. Like they'll start getting rid of characters who never had reposes. And then eventually we'd start losing characters, the ability to play as characters. I know that that's not something that's probably something that will never happen, but it's just in the back of my head, and I don't know why it keeps doing that. Seas, and yeah. Well, I guess I can just go up because I'm done. So yeah, sorry that this video was a little was really rushed, and I was kind of finicky in it. Repeated a lot of stuff there. Sorry about that. But other than that, guys, this is Crazy10 signing out. Please like this, do not forget to subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Goodbye. Have a nice day.